All right, folks. Welcome to Nino's Corner.tv. I'm joined with 𝗂𝗂 Carroll. 𝗂𝗂 Carroll, if you don't know him, you should know him. 24 years in the Border Patrol, retired Border Patrol agent, worked the Arizona-California corridor. He's now turned author, a great patriot. I love having him on my show. You've probably seen him on Nino's Corner.tv. That's where we do the deep dives on stuff. 𝗂𝗂, man, thank you so much for joining me.
I appreciate you having me on, and you called me yesterday and said, "Hey, what about all this warrantless searches and blah blah blah?" And I was like, "Whoa, what are you talking about?" So you said, "Okay, let's have you on. Let's discuss these things." And we're now turning in, Nino. We're turning in from the insane lawlessness. Now Donald Trump has moved this ship, and now we're trying to get back to what the foundation of America is, and that's the foundation of law and order. And I'm excited about it.
I agree with you 100%, but my mind goes to problem, reaction, solution. The bigger picture of this: are we moving into a police state? And the immigrants are the problem. So problem, reaction, solution. The immigrants are the problem. We get the desired reaction using MSN, the people behind Trump, and then boom, the solution is warrantless raids on Americans. But are they Americans? What's going on here, man? What's going on? You got to clear this up for me. And Alex, if you could show the executive order that Trump just put up. And while people are reading that, I'm going to go ahead and knock this out. 1 second, folks. If you're a homeowner, you need to listen to this. When's the last time you checked on your home title? That's a legal proof you own your house. If you're like me, the answer is never. The problem is today's AI and cyber world, scammers are stealing home titles, and your equity is the target. Here's how it works. Criminals forge your signature on one document, use a fake notary stamp, pay a small fee with your county, and boom, your home title has been transferred out of your name. Then they take out loans using your equity or even sell your property. You won't even know it has happened until you get a collection or foreclosure notice. That's why you need to stop what you're doing now and find out today if you've already been a victim. Use promo code NINO at HometitleLock.com to make sure your title is still in your name. You'll also get a free title history report plus a free 14-day trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts to any changes, and if fraud should happen, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. Go to HometitleLock.com now. Use promo code NINO, folks. I'll put the link down there below. It might not be down right now, but I'll get it up there, folks. All right, 𝗂𝗂. So what is this that we're looking at? What the hell is this? Strengthening and unleashing America's law enforcement to pursue criminals and protect innocent citizens. It looks like he's giving the power back to the police. This was signed yesterday.
Well, I agree with you. The knee-jerk reaction is to think, okay, the government's taking more power and they're going to take our rights, right? Because I don't trust my federal government at all either. However, when you get into that okay, we create the problem, now we create the solution, now we take more power. Donald Trump's not creating any more laws. This isn't the Patriot Act back in after 9/11. This is the actually reinstituting the laws that are on the books. Meaning, in this White House executive order, he's talking about sanctuary cities, that we are going to do our job. We're going to enforce federal law, and if you get in our way, we are going to punish you. Meaning, you're going to be arrested. We are now going to we're going to help state and local police officers get back to being proactive instead of this reactionary, I'm afraid, Ferguson effect. And then we're going to indemnify law enforcement officers, because a lot of people don't realize that a lot of state and local law enforcement are not indemnified, meaning you go to work and someone says, okay, I'm going to sue you for excessive force. Now I got to provide an attorney. Now I have to pay the judgment, whatever that be, is in whatever lunatic society I'm living in the West Coast. No, that's why police are pushing back. That's why you see this nonchalant attitude where people are brawling, people are getting shot, stabbed, and the police officers' reactions are like they're a sloth, because no one wants to get involved, because we have watered down law enforcement. We cause these men and women to not do their job. Another part in it is the DEI. If I see one more DEI hire on the internet getting their heads caved in by criminals because they don't have their credentials, they don't have the size, they have not met the requirements, and yet we put them in to positions of authority where you have to be physically strong, mentally tough, and you have to be violent, and they don't possess that. And I watch these police officers get just turned upside down from these criminals. It's disgusting. Nothing infuriates me more than that. And what Donald Trump is doing is he's bringing back the power to the police, not in a police state, but saying, hey, get out there and enforce the law. And when you said that, well, when you called me and you mentioned this, well, we're doing warrantless arrest of American citizens. Okay, time out. We're talking about illegal migrants. This is the word that I have to do, but I don't use it, migrant, right? But I said I would do it.
Bro. I know you want to let it loose, but we'll do it on TV.
Because I know a lot of my Border Patrol agent friends are watching this. They're like, hey, this guy's a sellout. No, I'm doing this.
I laid down the rules in the dressing room before we got in here. So.
The propaganda lie that America has been force-fed to believe is that illegal migrants get the same constitutional protections as a U.S. citizen. That's a lie. That's a falsehood. Now, if I'm an illegal immigrant and I commit a crime, I'm afforded those constitutional rights, like a jury between my peers, paid for counsel, a quick a quick trial. All of that gets to me. The fruit of the poison tree, Fourth Amendment violations, all that is included. However, you do not, as an illegal migrant, have the same rights as me. Let me give you a great example. Illegal immigrants get nothing. They get no rights unless they commit a heinous crime and go through the judicial system. They have no rights. Legal immigrants, even legal immigrants, don't have the full protection of the Constitution. Let me give you an example. If you're on a student visa, or if if you got a green card, you're over here, you can't protest against our government. What is that? That's the First Amendment, freedom of speech. You can't come as a guest into America and then protest against the government of America.
Enjoy our luxuries as citizens, as
Correct.
real citizens.
So that is.
Let me ask you this: what about you hear a lot of these people screaming? I just had a guy on a few days ago, 𝗬𝗏, who actually owns the company. He's the CEO and founder of Crowds on Demand. And by the way, folks, that's premiering later this evening. I think about 6 o'clock. I'm premiering it, and he's saying, "Well, immigrants should have due process." No, they should not have due process. And I agree, and I'm sure you agree with me on this. But what does that entail? He goes, "Well, how do you prove if they're immigrants or not?" Okay. So how do you go in and let's say you get a tip that there's some immigrants, and you're like, we got to go take these guys down, but you don't really, and you go in, you herd them all up, and there's a few that you don't know about. What's the process there?
It's the same process. So there's different levels. So on the border, I can expedite remove someone that crosses the border and says, "Oh, I'm from Guatemala." Okay, well, I'm flying you back to Guatemala. I want to see the judge. No, expedited removal. You don't get to see the judge. That's your due process. If I come across the border and I arrest them, and they don't fall under the expedited removal, and they say, "I want to see a judge," fine. You're going to go see a judge. I'm going to set you up, and it's called camp. I'm going to put you in camp. That's just our term for our jail. And you're going to sit in jail until your docket comes up. That might take a month. You're not going to be released. And we tell them, you're not going to be released. We may see you in 6 days or 30 days. I don't know. You want to see the judge? Go. You are never allowed to release them. I can't give them a notice to appear and they disappear.
And if they were an American citizen, it's quite easy to prove right there on the spot.
Okay, let me give you an example.
Isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm from San Diego, right? So let's say I'm walking around downtown San Diego in my line of duty, and I come across someone, and they give me this sideways look, and I have this feeling, "Hey, come here. Where are you from?" First off, United States Border Patrol. What's your citizenship? I'm from L.A. Oh, okay. So you don't speak English, right? No. Okay. Where were you born? Not L.A. Where were you born? Mexico. Do you have any papers? Nope. Okay, hook them up. Boom, boom. Hey, where are you from? I'm from LA. I was born in so-and-so. I'm a U.S. citizen. Okay. If I don't believe you, if I can articulate that you're lying to me, which they do, okay, give me your identification. Okay, that's a fake Social Security. I mean, that's a fake doc. Oh, or you give me your Mexican consular card. They think that gets them out of jail. Okay, you're under arrest. Boom. So I know who's a citizen, who's a not. And if let's say even make a bad decision. Let's say that I find someone and they're telling me this fantastical story, and I detain them. And I take him in my squad car and I take him to the station and I find out, oh, it's actually a U.S. citizen and has no ability to articulate that to me. Then I just cut some paper and I release him. I'm not deporting U.S.
You just check the
citizens.
database and
Yes.
everything. You're like, all right, so he's got to go.
Yes.
He can be released. It's
Now,
as easy as that.
Yes, but this is great. This is a great question. Due process. This is the lie the left says. They get due process. Let's take the Maryland man, the MS-13 piece of trash savage that they deported to El Salvador. He got his due process. He went in front of the judge. The immigration said, you're illegal. You are an MS-13 gang member. You are a terrorist. You are deportable. Deported. This whole due process, it's all a joke. You come across the border illegally. I can prove that I just saw you cross the border. I can expedite or remove you. If I catch you in the interior, say a year, 10 years, that you've been here and you want to see the judge, fine. I'm not releasing you. You're going to go to camp and then you're going to go see the judge. That's the due process. The idea, the lie that illegal immigrants have the same rights as U.S. citizens is absurd. If it was, then why don't we just open the borders and give everyone in the world the constitutional rights of the United States of America? We're not a country anymore.
So warrantless raids. Let's talk about that for a second. Okay, let's say someone's at their house watching television, they're an American citizen, door gets kicked open, and next thing you know, the police, ICE are in your house, and they're taking down your housekeeper. I don't know.
Well, that's not going to happen.
Okay, so let's say cleared up.
But if I go into your house as a U.S. citizen, you have the Fourth Amendment. I can't do that. I have to have a warrant to go get you.
So where is this coming from? Warrantless raids. Clear that up for me and my audience. Where is that even coming from? Warrantless raids on known illegal immigrants?
Okay, let's do this. Let's say I'm Tyson Chicken Plant, which hires a lot of illegal immigrants.
Okay.
I do not need a warrant to go into Tyson's chicken processing plant. It's called workforce enforcement. I'm allowed to walk in there and say, give me your I-9s. Give me all of them. Oh, these 500 legal immigrants, I'm arresting them, and then I'm going to fine you. If I come back tomorrow and I find one, then I'm going to start leveling $1,000 fine per person. Those are not, I don't need a warrant to go there. I don't need a warrant to come talk to you. If you're on the street and I come up to you and say, Nino, you're an illegal, I am, okay, you're under arrest. Now, I talk to my ICE guys, and ICE does things differently than Border Patrol because ICE has always been handcuffed by immigration attorneys within their own ranks. They're ineffective because of the people that run their organization. They get folders with arrest warrants, detainer warrants on certain subjects like MS-13 or whatever. That's what allows them to go into their search their property, their car. If I'm a Border Patrol agent and I roll up on someone that I know, and I just from the myriad of things that through my experience, that guy's illegal, and they don't want to come out of their car, I don't need a warrant to get into your car. I'm going to extract you from your vehicle. You're an illegal. I know it, you know it.
All right, try to say immigrant, please, please, please. So
did I say? I'm sorry. It's just
sorry. No, I get it, dude.
It's a legal term. I apologize, but I've been doing it too.
It's all good. It's all good. So they'll edit it out later. But so let's say like Home Depot. Let's say now there's free reign to go into houses that are suspected. All you need is suspicion, right? To go into a house and
no, because it's a dwelling. I don't know who's in there. I'm being told. So I'm an ICE officer.
Okay.
A TDA gang member is in this house in Chicago. I'm going to get a warrant to go into that house.
So if I need a warrant,
yeah, no one's going in there without warrants unless I see illegal immigrant so-and-so on the street and he runs into his house. I don't need a warrant. Just like a police officer sees a crime committed and the guy runs into a house, I'm in hot pursuit. I don't need a warrant to go into that house. I have to believe as a law enforcement officer that individual is trying to escape or will conduct harm on someone inside that residence, so I can go into that residence. But if I'm going to go as an ICE officer, I will have a warrant, arrest warrant, that will allow me to search the premises.
So you basically would have to do, if you're going to be going into if you're going to go raid a home, you're going to stake that property out first and know what you're doing, right? You're going to just, you're going to basically know exactly who's in there, what they're doing before you go in there and kick the door in and take these people out, correct? You're going to have to know, right? Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to go in and kick a door in at a meth lab, or kick a door in with, this is the gang hangout and there's 10 armed TDA soldiers.
You're not just going, so that's what people are scared of. You're not just going into random houses, kicking doors in and saying, "Hey, where's the immigrants?" Right?
No, I mean, that's absurd. That's what the left tells you.
Right.
Yeah, but the left tells you that because the left are liars. They're absolute liars. And think about, let's go one step further. We're arresting all these illegal immigrants, and they're all criminals, but the majority, there's millions of gang members. You name it, they're here, terrorists, soldiers. The left is trying to help them stay. That's how much the Democrat left hate America. They hate America. And I'll stand by that till the day I die. We have a vast segment of our political society hates our country. Why would Joe Biden and Mayorkas allow 30 million, not 3 million, not 10 million as they lied to you, and not 20, 30 million people come into America illegally in 4 years? That's absurdity. No other nation on planet Earth has ever allowed that to happen. And now we're dealing with the moral and ethical sins of the last administration, and Donald Trump is trying to correct it right now.
Right. And how long do you think this will take? So let's say there's 30 million here, right? Let's say 30 million, and who knows how many before that?
It's 50 million total.
Wow, 50 million. So, and I'm just going to say this, are they, even their work permits now have been revoked, correct? They can't even come here on a work permit.
Correct.
That Biden provided them. So that means, and I don't think they're self-deporting. From my understanding here in El Paso, because El Paso is basically Mexico. Basically, it's Mexico. Mm-hmm. And what they're saying here is they're just not showing up to work. They're just kind of holding their position to wait this out. What do you have to say to those people? What do you have to say to those people that are like, oh, we're just going to wait it out? He'll be gone in 3 years.
This is what I say, what's happening first. Let's talk about the interior enforcement. On the border, I give Donald Trump an A. On the interior enforcement, and let me preface this by saying I am the biggest MAGA supporter, Donald Trump supporter, and Tom Homan. I think he's perfect for the job. I give them maybe a D. It's inefficient. It's not working. Let me give you an example. If you live in a house and your basement has been flooding all night and it's creeping up the stairs, what do? You go turn off the main as fast as you can. That's what Donald Trump did on the border. He shut the main off, so there's no more coming in. Then what do? You hire a water restoration company with those giant suction pumps and pump the water out, rip the drywall out. But what we're doing in the interior is like taking that same scenario, flooded house, and we're taking red Solo cups and we're dipping it and trying to get the water out. If we follow the same trajectory of arrest, which is 1,000 to 1,500 a day, it will take over 100 years to remove them all from.
It's impossible, right? So they're just.
But it's not impossible. We just don't have the willpower and desire to do it.
What about the 𝗷𝗏 Act? So the 𝗷𝗏, that's May 7th, right? Will that help them self-deport?
If the federal government can force all the states to use the 𝗷𝗏, meaning you can't go to school, you can't go to get free medical care unless it's emergency, you can't buy a house, you can't get a job, you can't get a bank account, you can't get anything without the 𝗷𝗏. Why can't we do that? Why can't we do that?
Is that going to be enforced May 7th? Isn't that the way it's going to be in all states?
Yes, but they're not good. But you think California is you think your quasi red state in Texas is going to do it?
No, I don't.
You're the worst state of all. Your state and your governor allowed the majority of the child trafficking to happen in your state.
I agree. I've always said Greg Abbott's a rhino.
He's a rhino. He's beyond worthless. He's always half-assed everything he's done. But I'm saying the federal government with the 𝗷𝗏, that's how you get people to leave. They're not here because they love America. They're here because America gives them all their free stuff. That's why they're here.
So if you were an illegal immigrant here in America, what would be the game plan? Wait it out? I mean, I've been told here that there's people, I have friends here that own businesses. They're like, man, nobody's showing up to work. Nobody's coming to work. When I was flying from El Paso to San Antonio back to El Paso, I was just awestruck on how there was nobody on the flight, bro. That's never happened. So basically they're frozen. They can't move around freely in the country.
Isn't that great?
It's awesome. It's
awesome.
It's amazing. But I'm just saying, like, I noticed it on the flight. I'm like, this is because there's no more immigrants flying, man. That's why. But
it's even worse. It's even worse than that. Those immigrants were flying because our government bought their plane tickets.
Correct.
Our government was flying them, and the airlines were colluding with the federal government, with TSA, to let people with no ID get on the same planes as you and fly.
Well, I get groped. I get groped. Yeah. And so,
absolutely.
So what is happening right now then? So what if you're an illegal immigrant? What are they doing right now? Just staying at home, sitting in their apartment? What can they do?
Well, they're sitting there contemplating their options. Okay, because what Donald Trump did something brilliant, which I wrote about in my first book, Invaded, and I talk about this all the time. If you do not incentivize them to leave, meaning if you stay, you try to wait me out and I find you, I'm going to tag you in the system that you can never come back to America ever again. And what Donald Trump has done, he's one step lower. He said, I'm going to put a 20-year ban on you. Meaning you can't come back to see Disneyland. You can't come back to see your kids, your wife. You can't do anything. Can't visit, nothing. You're denied entry into America for at least 20 years. And then maybe we'll go even higher. So you need to leave. And now you're seeing people leave. And once you begin to see the inability to work, there's no more social benefits for you. It's all drying up. Then they will leave. They will.
So let's say like these immigrants that were staying in hotels, that were given credit cards, what are they doing? Crime? I mean, now I think the next option would be, well, we're not leaving America. We're going to wait this out, but you're damn right. I'm going to go rob some houses, or I'm going to go rob, you know what I'm saying? Like, those are the type of people that are here right now.
Well, let's look at reality. Reality is, if you open up a newspaper, if they even exist, or you go on the websites, whatever website, even the mainstream media, the legacy media, is having to show you every single day the R word, child R's, assaults, everything by the hands of illegal Americans. Let me give you a statistic, and this is going to shock you. And I know a lot of people are they're going to recoil. Congressman King from Iowa in the early 2000s did a study, an exhaustive study on crime, and he found 25 U.S. citizens were being murdered or killed every day. That number now is 40 a day. 40 Americans are dying at the hands of illegal. That's why it's an urgent. It needs to be all hands on deck emergency. This is the urgency. If I had 1 minute with Donald Trump, I'd say, sir, please stop this solo cup trying to drain my basement. Get in there with the military, get in there with local law enforcement, and eradicate these people from our country, period. Because we are looking at a demographic ticking time bomb of 50 million people.
I want to get your view on this, because the MSN obviously is in cahoots with all this. They're perpetuating this, he's going after, trying to make him look like a tyrannical, crazy dictator going after American citizens. Like it's Germany all over again in the 40s. So I'm going to show you articles right now. Alex, if you could put I sent you a bunch of articles, but set them up one at a time here, and I'm going to read them to you. Give me your thoughts on what the article is trying to portray and your outlook on the article.
Okay.
So we're citizens. Oklahoma City family traumatized after ICE raids home, but they weren't suspects. So you read a headline like that, and you're automatically thinking, oh my gosh, what's Trump doing, right? What's your thoughts on this?
Well, the immediate thing that comes to mind is the illegal immigrant criminal put your address in his file, said this is where I'm going to live, and you housed them. So when I go into a house looking for a suspect, and then I look around, I'm questioning everybody. So if you are all illegal, you're all coming with me. You're just sorry. You wanted to house a criminal felon, well, you're illegal. I'm hooking you up too.
What about an American citizen housing these people? You're now aiding and abetting terrorists, correct? Or what?
Yeah. How about I arrest you for aiding and abetting an illegal immigrant?
So what happens to those people?
Well, they get charged with 8 U.S.C. 1324, but probably not happening right now. Probably not doing. They're just going from residence to residence with their warrants, trying to find where the hell all of ours and soldiers and terrorists are. That's it. And if you've been housing them, well, that's your problem. That's like you, Neil. You have your homie is a former gang member, but now he's dabbling again in drugs and stuff, and you let him sleep on your sofa. Well, where's homie X living now? He's living with this guy, Nino. Okay, where's Nino live? Oh, here's his address. Here's a warrant for that. Bam, kick your door in. Is that my fault, Nino, that you have a drug addict, and a drug dealer sleeping on your sofa, or is that your fault?
It's my fault.
That's your fault.
100%.
So yeah, these people, they're going to lie constantly. Do you want to remove illegal immigrants from your country, or do you not? Simple as that.
So like when you see these judges, right, that are protecting them and stalling the process, what do you think should happen to these judges?
Well, just like that one judge, I think, from Wisconsin, that looks like a man. The female judge that is a dude. You put handcuffs on her. You put that. I'm looking through my camera. Yep, that beautiful woman right there. That dude was arrested because he or she or they obstructed a federal law enforcement officer's duty of arresting illegal aliens. Listen to what this judge did. She took a wife abuser, an illegal alien felon, left the poor suspects in the courtroom to rescue this guy and walk him through the jury hall and then through her back door and let him escape, and the Border Patrol was able to arrest him. And she's probably going to plead out, but she's going to lose her judgeship. Or the judge that was housing the TDA gang member and giving him rifles and firearms. There's something so wrong, but this is not an anomaly, Nino. This is the rule of what's happening. We live in the most lawless, corrupt system of government we have ever lived in the United States of America. And that's what Donald Trump is trying to bring back in place, and I am all for it.
So what about these judges that are stalling the process? What do you think should happen to them? I mean, should they be used as an example? I mean,
when you say stalling, like what are they doing stalling the process?
Like telling the flights to turn back around, things like that.
Oh,
like
the judges
getting lawfare.
Well, I truly believe this. I believe that we are in the midst of a constitutional crisis. You have the judicial branch of our government trying to tell the executive branch what to do. I believe Donald Trump is slow playing it, but there will come a time when Donald Trump is going to have to say as the executive, thank you very much, judicial. I don't care. I'm moving forward. A judge in D.C. or a judge in Omaha, Nebraska does not have more authority than the president of the United States. And the president of the United States—
All the process. They can throw obstacles up.
Well, once you start finding it, well, then we need to then again, a constitutional crisis. Trump's going to have to pull an Andrew Jackson. If you go back and study, the Supreme Court told President Andrew Jackson, you're going to return the lands of Georgia back to the Cherokees. That was the ruling from the Supreme Court. Andrew Jackson basically told the Supreme Court to go pound sand, and then he said, quote, come enforce it. Meaning, I have the army, I have the military, I have everything. What do you have? You have a black robe. You can't enforce anything. Shut up. You don't supersede the executive power. And when you look at the executive and the legislative branches of our government, do you know who's subservient to both of them? The judicial. The judicial can't remove a congressman, senator, and they can't remove the president. But the president and, the House and Senate can remove a judge. So where did we get in this world where the judges rule our world? This is insane. Our founding fathers never intended for this abomination of the way that we run our republic. No way. Absolutely no way.
Alex, go ahead and throw up another article. Trump administration's ICE immigration raids have dairy farmers on edge. Well, yeah, because they're hiring illegal immigrants, right?
If you have illegal immigrants working in your plants, I want you to be on edge. Let me take your audience back to the early 1990s. We did a workforce and enforcement. This is prior to me joining the Border Patrol, but I have really good friends and colleagues that I've interviewed about this. They went from Arizona, Texas, and California, all on the border, and they shut down businesses from having illegal immigrants working on there. And do you know who benefited the most? The legal immigrant. The legal immigrant. You know, 𝗬𝗂𝗧𝗂𝗁, the great hero of illegal immigrants, is a lie. Do you know that he would brutalize illegal immigrants on the border? He would go to the INS office in San Diego with a Rolodex of farms that were employing illegal immigrants and demand that they get deported. Why? Because he was a farm worker and is a unionized, and they were getting half the wage.
Wow.
Why is it important? I want your audience to
really learn your history on this one, you know?
Learn your history. And I want your audience to understand something. The idea, the lie, the propaganda that the media has told us for decades, we need all these immigrants, or you know, who's going to pick our fruit? Well, here's something. Do you know the largest segment of our economic system, meaning it's construction? So I pull construction out and say, this has the biggest majority of percentage of illegal immigrants working in the workforce. Do you know what that percentage is?
No idea.
13%. We have been propagandized that's at 70. Our hamburgers are going to cost $30. No, because
so what are the rest of them doing then? Crime?
They're not
living off the system.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
They're all, look. Okay, Elon Musk was able to initially uncover 5.5 million false Social Security numbers given to they have further a week later found it's over 10 million. They're going to come back a week or two from now and say it's going to be 20, 30 million. Why is that important? Because that Social Security number opens up the floodgates of all the social benefits that we give Americans in dire need.
They took my Social Security number.
Yes, they take it all. And do you know that an illegal immigrant that just crossed the border from Sudan, wherever, never been here in America, do you know they get a Social Security check for over $2,200 a month?
Oh.
Do you know how much the average?
Not anymore. That's done, right?
Maybe. I don't know. Did they clean up the rolls? I don't know. Do you know how much the average? But no. Do you know how much the average American gets on Social Security?
I don't know.
$1,800.
And they're getting $2,200.
$2,200. So a person that's worked 30, 40 years of their life, paid into the system, makes less than and the Democrats and the Republicans are all on the side. Illegal immigrant, excuse me. Illegal immigrant.
Let's throw up another article here.
Look at you, rapid fire, get me all worked up.
Yeah, relative says U.S. citizens taken into ICE custody after DE raid in Colorado Springs. What was the deal with this? Okay, thank you for bringing this up. So in Colorado Springs, there was an MS-13 Tren de Aragua gang underground nightclub where they were doing prostitution, drugs, on and on. And then ICE was alerted on it and raided it at night. So when they all came out, there was hundreds of people. They arrested all of them or detained all of them, then siphoned off. The U.S. citizens can go after they found that they weren't. So you're going, if you throw a net trying to catch trout and there's some catfish in there and you missed a catfish, well, once I get to the station, then I can say, okay, you're a U.S. citizen, you're released. However, why were you in a gang-infested place that's soliciting and offering drugs? There's some criminality to that. Now, this is very important to talk about this topic, that this article you wrote up. Do you know over 170 tips were sent to the ICE office under Joe Biden saying that this nightclub is filled with gangsters, illegal immigrants, and Joe Biden refused to go and hit that place? It wasn't until Donald Trump came into office and they did it. Think of that. So, but Colorado is a sanctuary, isn't it a sanctuary state? It's a sanctuary state, but those are federal officers. So they're not safe there anymore either. Now people know that set the tone right there. That's like, okay, tone. We're not safe anywhere. I mean, I'm sure they're probably safe in California still, right? They're safe everywhere except when federal officers come and get you. And listen, this is the beauty of it, right? So
if Trump really starts ramping this up and we start doing massive sweeps, and you see your homie get hooked up and you see, oh my gosh, Leon just got smashed and Walter got crushed. You're thinking, even if I don't even know you exist, I'm ICE and I don't even know you exist, in your brain, you're thinking, oh my God, they're coming for me. They're coming for me. It's a matter of time. Maybe I should leave because I know I'm a criminal. And if they get me, Walter's sitting in a supermax right now, serving 18, 19 months. Maybe he's made, now he's going to do 20 years and then he'll get deported.
So let's say they're a violent criminal. Where do they serve their time? They go back to their country to serve time, or do they go to Salvador? Do they serve time here?
They serve time here. So let's say that I'm an ICE agent. I'm going after illegal X. Illegal X has committed multiple crimes and either has a warrant for his arrest or needs to be held in order to charge him. Let's say that person AR'd a child or AR'd a woman. So that's him. I'm not sending him back to anywhere. You're going to go stand in front of court, and that woman and that child's going to stand there and go, that guy did this to me. And then you're going to go to jail. And then when you get done serving whatever time of your miserable rotten life there is, when that time is up, you get deported back to that crap hole country that you came from.
Jeez. Wow. All right, next article. Some Americans have already been caught in Trump's immigration dragnet. More will be.
𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗶. Okay, that's basically Pravda from Russia. So, again, it's all lies. It's all hyperbole. It's all propaganda. Nobody's kicking in doors, arresting U.S. citizens. It's absurd. I know these guys. I know the guy that runs the massive fugitive task force in San Diego. I know all these guys. This isn't happening. It's just lies and propaganda.
All right, let's get to the next one. Is there another one, Alex? I think we have a couple more, don't we? ICE Florida law enforcement make nearly 800 arrests in multi-day operation.
How about that number needs to be about 8,000 a day?
Yeah, because, I mean, it's just drops in the bucket. I mean, it's enough to scare everybody, but they're still going to be waiting it out. That's still just a drop in the bucket. I mean, how much effort and time does it take to put together an operation like that and go in and arrest that many people? The paperwork, everything entailed in that.
Yep.
I mean, seriously, dude. Like,
well, that's why you have to have the military involved. You have to go. I believe that military needs to be involved. Yes.
So there needs to be. So you agree with? I agree with you on that. But how? How would he get that done? How would Trump get that done?
He is the executive. He is the executive officer. We are in a national security emergency. We have over 200,000 known special interest aliens / terrorists in our country, over 100,000 PLA soldiers in our country, and millions upon millions of gang members in our country, foreign nationals. This is a national security emergency. 40 Americans are being every single day. There, he needs nothing else. He needs nothing else. And then at the same time, every single person, politician, media, propagandists, activists that get in our way, we are arresting you and we're throwing you in jail for 8 U.S.C. 1324. And everyone's going to have to go stand before the man because you want to save illegal immigrants that are criminals in our country. Even if they're not, quote, a criminal, they're still destroying all of our social benefits. All of it. You're telling me your grandma shouldn't be getting the $2,200 to $2,800? Do you know that we're giving away illegally to illegal migrants through Social Security $175, $200 million a month?
Yeah, a month. Working hard tax dollars, our hardworking taxes is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So what do you think by the end of Trump's term, maybe even this year, do you think we see military on the streets, and what will that look like?
I don't think I'll see it. No. I don't know what I'll be honest with you. I don't know what's going on in the Trump. I don't get it. The House has not appropriated the necessary funds, manpower, and money. Our side, the Republican side, has not done it. Speaker Johnson has not done it. Tom Homan does not have the manpower or the resources or funds. Will that happen? I don't know. Does it need to happen yesterday? Absolutely. What does it look like when military comes on the board? Let me give you an example. Do you know there's still hotels in New York City that are housing thousands of illegal immigrants and
No
giving them?
way.
Yep, absolutely. So why wouldn't I take the Roosevelt Hotel or some hotel like that, 5,000 people? Why wouldn't I take a military unit, encircle the city block, and then move all the people out of the hotel and get them on planes and fly them out
How
of
is
here?
that not even happening right now?
Why
I
is
don't
it?
understand.
That's the question I have. Why is this not happening? Why?
That's insane.
That's just New York, man.
Hmm.
Chicago's doing the same thing. Homeless
California,
shelters are
yeah.
packed. California. Look what California did. Just so your audience understands the magnitude of what we're talking about. In the last year, 2024, the House and Senate in California admitted that they spent $6.9 billion on illegal immigrants' health. Wait, they had to revise the number last month and said, actually, the number is $9.7 billion for illegal migrants. They didn't have enough water for the fire hydrants. They had to cut the fire department. Their fire department stations are falling apart. They have no water in the reservoir, but they spent $10 billion for healthcare on illegal immigrants.
That's insane. That's insanity.
We're living in insane
So let me
times,
ask you this: right now, though, with everything the way it is, like I said, I noticed that a lot of the immigrants were not on the planes. They're probably not at the hospitals either right now, right? Or are they still being allowed to go into the? I mean, they're not allowed to do anything right now, right?
But illegal migrants don't use healthcare like you and I do. If we're sick, we're going to call our general practitioner. Go into any major metropolitan city and go to their emergency room. That's where they all go. If they have a cold,
right now,
because they're still going to get the money. They're not going to turn them away because there's no enforcement to say if you are not.
But aren't they scared to know? Like if we go to this hospital, they could call and say,
sure. Yeah, I'm sure that's happening.
I mean, that would stop me. I'd be like, I can't go there. If they know I'm in illegal, they'll call the cops or the Border Patrol on me. Don't the hospitals have to do that?
They don't have to. No, they don't.
Wow, man.
And then you look at it. I write in my book in treason, and I talk about Colorado just for example. Do you know that Colorado is shutting down hospitals because they're bankrupt? Do you know that in 2024, I believe it was 2023, 2024, that over 20,000 illegal migrant appointments in healthcare were given, and it destroyed the healthcare system in Denver. 20,000 appointments. Americans are being shafted. Rural communities, they're closing the hospitals down. Why? Because they have been flooded with illegal migrants and they don't pay. Now, if you go and get emergency care and you don't have insurance and you don't pay, do you think they're not going to come and collect?
Oh,
you think
100%.
they're not? Oh, absolutely. But if you're an illegal migrant, they just write it off.
No. This has to end, man. Like I said, I noticed a difference at the airports.
Yep.
That's good.
Huge.
So, JJ, I appreciate you joining me, man. This has been a Knockout podcast. Where do people find you?
The best way to find me is 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃.com. Have my books, my DVDs on there. 2 best-selling books from Amazon. Just go to 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃.com. I appreciate your time.
And you're doing speaking engagements as well, or?
I do. I get called quite a bit, once or twice a week, to go and speak to groups, big and small, and about this topic and about the child sex trafficking and everything else that's happened under Joe Biden is currently happening right now in the United States of America. Let
me ask you this last question here. I've heard that within the Border Patrol, there's a division. That a lot of the Border Patrol do not want to uphold the laws that Trump is putting forward. Is that what you're hearing? I mean, and if so, are they just being let go, or what? How is that? Is that? What's the internal fight inside the? Okay, go ahead. I'm hearing the direct opposite. The morale is skyrocketed, and they're doing the job. Now, I'm going to tell you this:
that you have a giant generational gap of work knowledge has been lost. You have agents that have done nothing except be babysitters. They have no idea how to do their job, and they've got lazy, they've gotten fat, and they've become impotent. That is being conditioned for 4 years of doing nothing. How fast will the Border Patrol get back to their lean, mean, green attitude? I don't know. I don't know. But the men and women that I do know are absolutely, thank the God, get on their knees every day that Donald Trump is their president.
So one more question. This is another one. So I live here in El Paso, the borders, Ciudad Juarez. I think I've noticed a reduction in traffic. I don't know.
Yes.
But I mean, are they just not freely coming over anymore? I mean, has that been halted? Is the border shut down? What's the process for someone in Mexico to come over the bridge and come into America and come into El Paso and enjoy shopping or going to dinner? Like, how is it just a passport?
No, they have to have their visa, their visitor, B1, B2, and they come over just like every other thing. That's never stopped. What stopped is you can't come from 180 different nations, sit down on the border with your luggage, and the Border Patrol agents will release you into America with a free debit card, a free cell phone, and a free airline ticket, and then thousands of dollars on EBT card. That's ended. If you cross the border and you are arrested, you will be held in custody and deported back to your home country without exception. There is a zero tolerance right now to release illegal immigrants on our streets. Do you know why? Because it's against the law. It's against the Immigration Nationality Act that Joe Biden ignored and Mayorkas ignored for over 4 years and arrested and released over 12 million people into America.
But I'm sure it was a lot easier under Biden to get your visa.
Well,
right?
Why would you? No, but why? No, it wasn't, because they broke the system. The system's so broken. Why would you go get a visa and come legally when I can step a foot on the border and you're going to give me a free cell phone?
Got you.
I don't have to pay for the flight to New York City. You're going to fly me and my family to New York City. You're going to make sure I get a hotel. You're going to make sure I have an EBT card. You're going to put thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars on my EBT card, renewed every month. I'm going to give you tens of thousands of dollars. Why would you come here legally?
So has it made the process harder for people trying to come here legally now?
Of course. Let me give you just a regular day. Let's look at this. I love the Tom Cruise movie, Maverick. I just want to see it, right? I love Top Gun. So I go with my family and I purchased my tickets a month prior to the show. I show up to see the movie, to see the immigration officer, and they tell me, I'm sorry, we're sold out. What do you mean? I have my ticket right here. I bought it. Here's my seat numbers. No, we just let everybody else in. What? That's what they did. They let everyone else in. Let me give you an example to really drive this point home. There are over 5 million asylum cases backlogged. 5 million.
5 million.
5 million. Do you know that there are less than 1,000 asylum officers in the United States of America?
Forget it.
They broke the system on purpose.
Good luck. Yeah. JJ, thank you so much for joining me, my man. I appreciate it. Let's bring you on again. Let's get you on .tv, Nino'sCorner.tv. We'll go deeper into this. I got a feeling that I think that at some point he's going to have to sign the Insurrection Act and deploy military. It's the only option.
He has no other option.
Right.
If he wants to go down in history as one of the greatest presidents outside of George Washington or right next to George Washington, then he does the hard thing. If he wants to go into the dustbin of history of just being average or a failure, then he'll continue to do the same thing he's doing on interior enforcement.
Wow.
You either save the republic or you don't, Mr. President. And that's coming from your biggest supporter ever, of me. You're the greatest border president in the history of the United States of America. Now become the greatest president in the history of America by moving out 50 million people from our country that do not belong here.
50 million, folks. That's insane. JJ, thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you, brother. Anytime. Have a good day.
Got it. All right, brother.
Bye.
Peace. Later, folks.